see, nothing makes you responsible like taking responsibility. I'll say that again. Nothing makes you responsible like taking responsibility. And you see, you miss out of opportunity when you don't take responsibility. Great evening, guys. Thank you so much for joining us again on another exciting Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. I am Mr. Upgrade, and I'm super excited to be here again for another life transforming session on the Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade. You see, on the Upgrade Live with Mr. Upgrade, we do this every Sundays from 7 p.m. through to 8 p.m. And we basically get to do four things. Number one, we get to take your questions. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to send in your questions and we'll gladly take them. Number two, we get to share with you the Upgrade Mastery tip for the week. And for this week, the Upgrade Mastery tip is responsibility. Number three, we get to connect, network, and bond because we strongly believe that life is about connecting, networking, and bonding, right? And number four, we get to have fun because we strongly believe that if learning is not fun, there is no learning at all. And whatsoever you learn with full pleasure, you remember in full measure. So we get to have fun while we do the upgrade life. So sit back, relax, invite your friends, share this with your family and friends so that they too can begin their journey to upgrade. Like we always say, upgrade is a journey. It's not a destination, it's a journey because we keep improving every single day of our life. Today, we have an interesting conversation. But before then, we normally love to take your questions. So if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to send in your questions and we'll gladly take them because that's why we are here to take your questions because we know that questions are more important than answers. So if you get to take your questions, you will gain more clarity in any area of your life that you currently lack clarity. Right? So send in your questions. We'll be glad to take them for you. But we also begin with our basic five questions that we'll start off the show with. Now, these five questions help us to lay the foundation for the conversation so that you know how the conversation is going to be heading with the five questions. So let's begin with our five questions segment. And question number one. Question number one is, what is responsibility? Now, I know a lot of things will come to your mind when you hear the word responsibility. So share with me, what exactly is responsibility? When you hear responsibility, what comes to your mind? What do you have to do when you hear the word responsibility? What is it that comes to mind when you hear responsibility? What is it? Tell me. I'd like to hear your response. When you hear the word responsibility, what actually comes to your mind? What do you think of when you hear, oh, responsibility? What does it resonate for you? I'll tell you this. You see, responsibility, it is your responsibility to getting things done and attaining results. That is responsibility. It is your responsibility to getting things done and attaining or achieving results. That is responsibility. So it is your response to your ability to get this done and get results. That is responsibility. Like in the simplest of definitions, that is what responsibility is. Your responsibility to getting things done and achieving or attaining results. That, my friend, is responsibility. Right? So when you think about responsibility, that is what should be on your mind. Your response to your ability in getting things done and achieving results. So when I say responsibility, I'm saying how do you respond with your ability to get things done? That is what responsibility is all about. No long and short. That's just what it is. Your response to your ability to get things done. Now, question number two would be, who therefore is responsible for responsibility? And the answer is simple. You are the one responsible for responsibility. No one else is responsible for responsibility but you. You are absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, you are absolutely responsible for responsibility. Question number three is, why responsibility? Why do we have to talk about responsibility? Why is this even a conversation that we should be having? I'll tell you three reasons why. Number one is response. Because you see, no matter what happens to you, there's always a way that you respond. There's always the response that you give. So responsibility is about your response. How do you respond? You know, they say that it's not about what happens to you, it's about what happens in you, because you have a response. Because you're a human, you have a response. Just like there's between when the stimuli meets you, between the stimuli action and your response, there's a choice. So responsibility talks about your choice, your response. So why responsibility is your response, right? The second reason why responsibility is because it's your ability. You have an ability with which you respond, right? So you see, sometimes things may not be going as expected, but you have an ability to respond. You have that ability to respond. So responsibility is about your ability. You cannot say, oh, I don't have an ability, because that's not true, because you do. All through scriptures and all through the examples I'm going to share with you, you will see how they use their ability in response to get what it is that they want. So there is always the response of your ability in responsibility. And the third reason why responsibility is there's a result. Anyone who takes responsibility always see a result. For the responsibility taking, there's always the result that you get. So the reason why responsibility is important is because there's the result that you get from taking responsibility. And that result cannot be gotten any other way. So if you take responsibility, you will see a result. You don't take responsibility, you won't see any result. Right? You will see a result, but not the result that you hope for. Yes, you see a result, because even indecision is still a decision. So you see a result, but not the result that you hope for. So three reasons why you take responsibility. Number one, your response. Number two, your ability. And number three, the result. Question number four is, what's the benefit of responsibility? What's the benefit? What do you stand to gain by taking responsibility? What's the benefit? I'll tell you three benefits of responsibility. Number one, there's growth. Anyone who takes responsibility grows. There's always growth that happens when you take responsibility. Number two, there is maturity. The more responsibility you take, the more mature you become. There's maturity that is displayed the more you take responsibility. And number three, there is identity. You're going to be identified as one who takes responsibility, identified as one who solves problems, identified as one who stands up to the occasion. That's identity. So, three benefits of taking responsibility. Number one, there's growth. Number two, there's maturity. And number three, there's identity. Now, question number five. When is the best time to take responsibility? I always say this, the last best time for anything was yesterday. The next best time is now. Now, as you're watching this, from this moment you're watching this, is the time for you to make up your mind to start taking responsibility. Now is the best time to take responsibility, especially for your life, because nobody's coming to save you. I say this all the time. Nobody's coming to save you. You are your own rescue. So learn to take responsibility for your life. Does that make sense? So now is the best time for you to start to take responsibility for your life. Now, let's get into the word itself, responsibility, because we need to take this for you to understand. We need to break this down for you to understand. So let's get into the word itself, responsibility. 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 Let's get into today's gist. Are you ready? Type responsibility in the comment section so I know that you're ready. Type responsibility in the comment section so I know that you are ready. Are you ready for this? Let's go. Okay, so you see, the arrow in responsibility is ready. Ready. The one who takes responsibility is ready. You know, I said this, that you are never physically prepared until you are mentally ready. So until you're mentally ready, you will never be physically prepared. So what responsibility does for you is to help you to be ready. So you don't make excuses, you don't procrastinate, you're not lazy, you are just ready. That's what responsibility does to you. It makes you ready. So whenever anything happens, you are ready because you are one who takes responsibility. You don't make excuses. You don't leave things to chance. You take responsibility. So the one who takes responsibility is always ready. R-E-A-D-Y, ready. Are you getting this? So responsibility makes you ready. You know, the motto of the Boy Scout says, be prepared. Responsibility makes you ready. And until you are mentally ready, you will never be physically prepared. So the first thing about responsibility is that you are ready. No excuses, just ready to make uses. Does that make sense? Great. The E in responsibility is effort. The one who takes responsibility puts in effort. There's no excuse. There's no reason to slack back. There's no reason to not do anything. The one who takes responsibility puts in effort. Because it's only through effort you eventually get results. So responsibility causes you to put in effort. You don't expect a harvest without putting the effort of sowing the seeds. So there's the effort that you put in because you are taking responsibility. You're not sitting back and laying down and just waiting for things to just change suddenly. No, you put in the effort. It's effort that needs to be made because you're taking responsibility. The S in responsibility is service. The one who takes responsibility always serves. Always serves. Is always ready to give up themselves in service. You know, Jay Shetty in his book talks about plant trees on whose shade you do not intend to sit under. In the book, Think Like a Monk, right? Responsibility requires service. And you know, I've defined service as the giving up of yourself faithfully towards the attainment of a goal without the expectation of reward. So responsibility demands of you to render service, and not just anyhow service, quality, excellent service, because it's responsibility. You're not doing it shabbily, you're not doing it haphazardly, you're doing it with excellence, you're doing it with quality. That service, you're rendering service, is part of responsibility. How can I serve? Who can I serve? It's part of responsibility. Two questions I always tell people when it comes to service is, what do you want? How can I help you? Always ask those questions. Always ask, what do you want and how can I help you? It shows that you're a person of service, because responsibility demands service of you. The P in responsibility is positioning. You see, responsibility positions you differently from others. There's a positioning that you attain with responsibility. You are not like everybody else. You are positioned differently. So there's a positioning you attain when it comes to responsibility. It positions you as someone who is different from the rest. It positions you as someone who has an identity to help and to be of help. It positions you as somebody who's of value. So responsibility does positioning for you. So when people need anything, they think of you first because you are positioned that way in their mind. You occupy a mind share in their mind through your positioning that you have attained through responsibility. So if you want to get some things done, you know who you should call. You know who you should call, because there's a positioning that responsibility gives to people. See this, the O in responsibility is opportunity. And I've always said this all the time, opportunity don't come but once, it comes every day. The day you take advantage of opportunity, that becomes your wants. Right? There's always opportunity that taking responsibility offers you. You know, when Joseph revealed the dream of the baker and the butler, that was responsibility. But he was taking the opportunity to help them at that time, because it was that butler 2 years after who reminded Pharaoh that I know a guy in the prison who interpreted our dreams, and it came to pass exactly as he said. But if he didn't take that opportunity to display responsibility, the butler would never have remembered him. The end in responsibility is necessity. See, it's of necessity, without a shadow of a doubt, that you take responsibility. It's of necessity. Responsibility is a necessity, is not an option, is a necessity. You must take responsibility. Your life will always look like your choices and your responsibility. That's how your life will look out. Your life will look like your choices and your responsibility. That's how your life will look out. Nothing else. Nothing else. So it's of necessity that you take responsibility. The S in responsibility is sacrifice. Responsibility will demand sacrifice of you. The things that you have to do because you are taking responsibility is sacrifice. While others may be carefree, that's not you. You made the sacrifice to be valuable, to be an asset. Responsibility demands sacrifice, and you must make that sacrifice. The I in responsibility is intentionality. When it comes to responsibility, you have to be intentional. It is not haphazardly. You have to be intentional with responsibility. The one who takes responsibility is intentional, doing things the way they ought to be done. Intentional, right? The B in responsibility is belief. You have a firm belief. You are a firm believer that things must go the right way. Things must be done the right way. It's a firm belief that you have. The other I in responsibility is initiative. One who takes responsibility always takes initiative. You are proactive. You don't wait to be told what to do. You take responsibility. You are proactive. You are not reactive. Responsibility demands of you to be proactive, to be thinking ahead. In Stephen Covey's book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, one of the habits is proactive. And the one who's taking responsibility takes initiative. And initiative is a product of being proactive. That means you are highly effective. So responsibility demands that you take initiative. The L in responsibility is learning. As you keep on taking responsibilities, the more you learn. See, there's something that only responsibility will teach you. Sincerely. You can't learn it any other way until you start taking responsibility. So there's the learning that occurs as you take responsibility. The I in responsibility is inspiring. The other I is inspiring. The more you take responsibility, the more you are inspired, the more you inspire others to also do the same. Responsibility is inspiring. And then the T in responsibility is timely. It's timely. You see, they say pour, P-O-O-R, means passing over opportunity repeatedly. When it comes to responsibility, there's the timeliness that comes with it. There must be the timing. You can do the right thing at the wrong time and it will be the wrong thing. And you can do the right thing at the wrong time, it will be the wrong thing also. So you must understand timing. Timing is critical for responsibility. You must be aware of timing. And you must know how to make the most of timing when it comes to responsibility. Don't sit back and wait. No, take responsibility in time. Like we always say, early is on time. On time is late, and late is unacceptable. So you must take responsibility early because the timing is critical. Remember, the 5 foolish virgins eventually came back with oil. They came back with oil in Matthew 25. It was already too late because timing is part of responsibility. Timing is critical for responsibility, right? And then the why in responsibility is you. You are responsible for taking responsibility. Your life will look like your choices and your responsibility. You cannot blame anyone for how you turned out in your life. It is your responsibility. You don't like your life, fix it. You have the responsibility to do that. Are you getting this? You have the responsibility to do that. So the why in responsibility is you. So this is what responsibility is about. Ready, effort, service, positioning, necessity, sacrifice, intentional, belief, initiative, learning, inspiring, timely, and you. This, my friend, is responsibility. And the question now is, are you ready to take responsibility? Because the truth is, nobody's going to take responsibility for your life. You can blame everyone you like to blame, but it still comes back to you taking responsibility for your life. Now, let's look at a few things very quickly. Very quickly. We want to look at a few things very quickly because there are three things about responsibility that you must always remember. Three key things about responsibility you must always remember. Number one is opportunity. Number two is maturity. And number three is possibility. Once you understand these three things, it changes everything for you and why you must be taking responsibility. Because as you take responsibility, you are taking advantage of opportunity, you are engaged in maturity, and then you are helping possibility happen for you. All because you are taking responsibility. So three things you need to always remember when it comes to responsibility is that there is opportunity, there's maturity, and there's possibility. All of these happen simply because you are taking responsibility. So is it not worth taking responsibility? Tell me, is it not worth it? And see, there are two traits of responsibility. When you see these two traits, you know that this person is taking responsibility for their life. Two traits, two amazing traits of responsibility. Number one, there's ownership mentality. And number two, there's the winning mindset. These are two traits of anyone who takes responsibility. That person knows that I have an ownership mentality. Wherever I find myself, I treat it like my own. In fact, I make it better than I met it. That's ownership mentality. And then also, I have a winning mindset that I know I cannot fail. I just cannot fail, regardless of what I may be facing. I just cannot fail. That gives me the winning mindset. So these two things are the traits of responsibility, ownership mentality and the winning mindset. Now, the one goal of responsibility is simple. The one goal of responsibility is doing something. That is taking action. That's the goal. For everyone who takes responsibility, they are doing something. They are not idle. Like you say, the idle mind is the devil's workshop, right? The one who takes responsibility is doing something, is taking action. And many times is doing the right thing, not just anything. Right? Because you can be about nothing. You can be busy about nothing. You can have activity with no productivity. But the one who takes responsibility is doing something. There's productivity, not just activity. There's progress, not just movement. There's doing something, which is taking action. The one goal of responsibility is doing something, taking action, doing the right thing. Right? You see, when people are making excuses, are procrastinating, they are being lazy, and all of those things, that's a proof that they are not taking responsibility. That's it. When you see somebody who's lazy, who's making excuses, who's procrastinating, the summary of this person is not taking responsibility. Because when you are taking responsibility, you have no reason to make excuse. You have no reason to procrastinate. You have no reason to be lazy because you are taking responsibility. Because you know if it is to be, it's entirely up to you. So you are taking responsibility. So the difference between people is how they take responsibility. That's the difference. A very major difference between people is how they take responsibility. And you see, yeah, the people who follow the crowd mentality. And that's what my friend talked about, Emmanuel, on his podcast, Crowd Mentality, episode 164. He talked about crowd mentality. And you see, these people, they follow the crowd. And one of the things that happen when you follow the crowd is that you lose your own individuality. And when you lose your individuality, you are no longer taking responsibility. So go listen to that episode on Wow FM, Let's Talk Podcast with Emmanuel, right? That episode drops today on crowd mentality, right? So, what does that tell you? When people are making excuses, they are procrastinating, they are being lazy, it shows that they are not taking responsibility. Simple, full stop. And you see, there are two kinds of responsibility. There's a type that is bestowed, which is the type that is given, and there's the type that is taken. You see, so when someone is born into a royal family, responsibility is bestowed on that one to be royalty. So that's the person will no longer do anymore because he or she is royalty. So that responsibility is bestowed, is given. When someone attains a certain position in society, that responsibility is given, is bestowed on the person, right? But there's also the responsibility that is taken, the one that you take for yourself, the one that you know you have to be responsible. So there are two kinds of responsibility: the one that is bestowed or given, on the one that is taken. Whichever way you find yourself, the point is take responsibility. See, to take responsibility for your life is important because nobody is coming to save you. Yes, I'll say that over and over again. Nobody is coming to save you. You are your own rescue. So take responsibility for your life. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. Yes, nobody's coming. The earlier you understand this, the better for you. Nobody's coming to save you. So you have to take responsibility for your life. And you see, responsibility is what makes you responsible. Say, oh, that person is not a responsible person. Yes, because the person is not taking responsibility. It is responsibility that makes you become responsible, nothing else. Once you are taking responsibility, you are now responsible. QED. End of story. So it is responsibility that makes you responsible, nothing else. So you want to be responsible, start taking responsibility. Are you getting this? That's as simple as it gets. And you see, responsibility is knowing what to do and doing what you know. Did you get that? Responsibility is knowing what to do and doing what you know. That is it. Long story short, that is it. And it's important that everyone starts to take responsibility for their life. I keep saying this, nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. And when you understand this, it helps you. Because you see, responsibility, it strengthens character. When you're taking responsibility, your character is strengthened. When you're taking responsibility, your character is strengthened. It strengthens character. Responsibility builds, it strengthens your character, and it also builds strength. It strengthens your character, and it also builds strength. Responsibility builds strength because the more you're responsible, the more you are strengthened to be responsible. It strengthens your character, it builds strength, it develops maturity. Yes, responsibility develops maturity. Are you getting this? It develops maturity. And then, here's the part I love the most. Responsibility makes you indispensable. Have you noticed that there are some people that everybody has to wait for them to arrive before they take a decision? It's responsibilities that have made them become that indispensable. Responsibility. So, understanding this just helps you. One, responsibility strengthens your character. Two, responsibility builds strength. Three, responsibility develops maturity. Four, responsibility makes you indispensable. Are you getting this? These are the things that happens to you when you take responsibility. These things happen to you when you take responsibility. These four things changes everything about you. It changes everything for you when you take responsibility. These four things. Are you getting this? So you must be aware of this. I see When you take responsibility, you become an asset. You become an asset. You become an asset. But when you don't take responsibility, you become a liability. So who would you rather be? An asset or a liability? Who would you rather be? But responsibility makes you become an asset. Irresponsibility makes you become a liability. Once you get this, it changes everything for you. And see, success or failure comes down to responsibility. Someone will always say this, that there are no naturally born failures. Failures is self-made. Did you get that? There are no naturally born failure. Failure is self-made. Why? Because success or failure, it comes down to taking responsibility. You take responsibility, you'll be a success. You don't take responsibility, you will be a failure. It's as simple as that. It comes down to taking responsibility. So when you take responsibility, that's what happens. Literally, that's what happens when you don't take responsibility. So success or failure comes down to taking responsibility. And you see, you can't blame anyone for your failure in taking responsibility. You can't blame anyone. For you not taking responsibility for your life, you just cannot blame anyone. It's your fault. You are responsible for it. So you can't blame anyone. You know, people like to play the blame game. But the truth is that you cannot blame anyone for your failure to take responsibility for your life. It's your life. Take responsibility for it. You can't blame anyone. You just cannot. It's your life. So you have to take responsibility for it. See this. There are some examples of people who took responsibility for their lives. And I'll just go through a few of them to just help you understand this. The example of people who took responsibility for their lives, right? Let me tell you about a few of them. People who took responsibility for their lives. You see, blind Bartimaeus in Mark chapter 10, he took responsibility for his life. He heard that Jesus was passing by and he started to scream, "Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me." The crowd told him to hush, but he cried out the more. He screamed out the more. That is him taking responsibility. He could have said, "Oh, Jesus should just help me now." No, he cried. He played his part. He took responsibility. Even when they told him to keep quiet, he cried out the more. He took responsibility even more. Sometimes you are rejected. Take responsibility. Go back again. Work on your strategy. Go back again. Take responsibility. See rejection as redirection. Take responsibility. Jesus stopped and asked them to call him. He took responsibility. The woman with the issue of blood, she took responsibility for her life. She was going through physicians for 12 years. She kept on seeking help. She was taking responsibility for her life. Even though she lost all her wealth in the process, she kept on seeking help. And eventually, she heard about Jesus and she told herself, "If only I may touch the hem of his garment, I will be made whole." She pressed the crowd. She was taking responsibility. She didn't say, "Oh, Jesus will come to my house and help me." No, she was taking responsibility. She was taking responsibility for her life. The centurion servant was so effective, always taking responsibility that when he fell sick, his master went to look out for Jesus and said, "Jesus, come and heal my servant. You don't even need to come, just speak the word so my servant will be well." The centurion servant was so indispensable to his master. Take note, the master was a centurion. He had so many servants at his disposal. But because of how indispensable that servant was, he went looking for help for the servant. The same can be said of the man sick of palsy and his 4 friends. They removed the roof so that Jesus can heal their friend. And scripture says Jesus seeing their faith. Their friend was indispensable. They didn't abandon him in his trials and tribulation. Zacchaeus took responsibility. He climbed the sycamore tree so he could see Jesus. And when Jesus got to the tree, he stopped and told Zacchaeus, "Come down today. I would fellowship in your house." The prodigal son took responsibility for his life. In Luke 15, verse 17, he came to himself and said, I will arise and go back to my father. He took responsibility for his life. The same son that left home was the same son that came back home. He took responsibility. Esau, he sold his birthright for food because he didn't take responsibility to cook his own food. So these are examples of people that you could see when they take responsibility, how things change for them. And when they don't take responsibility, what also happens to them. And then the same Esau, when the father had proclaimed all the blessings on Jacob, he came and said, there's no one blessing left for me. The father said, when you become restless, you break his yoke off you. Guess what? When Esau and Jacob eventually met, Jacob looked like the one, Jacob looked like who had not gotten the blessing. Esau looked like the one who had been blessed. Why? Because Esau took responsibility that regardless of the blessing that Jacob got, I would not allow myself to fail. When Jacob saw Esau, he bowed before him and called him Lord. That was the one that was not blessed, though, the one that didn't get the blessing. But he took responsibility regardless. Your life will begin to change the moment you start to take responsibility for your life. Let that sink in. Your life will begin to change the moment you start to take responsibility for your life. Told you, nobody is coming to save you. You are your own rescue. So take responsibility for your life. See this, guys. Even God is waiting for you to take responsibility for your life. God is waiting for you to take responsibility for your life. God is waiting for you. You know, scripture tells us that let us therefore now come boldly. Hebrews 4:16. Let us therefore now come boldly to the throne of grace. We may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. You don't come, you remain outside. So you have a responsibility to come. Just like Bartimaeus screamed, Jesus, that son of David, have mercy on me. You have a responsibility to come. And God is waiting for you to come. Your body doesn't have to come back home. God was waiting, the Father was waiting for him to come. You have to take responsibility to come. There's a responsibility you have to do that God is waiting for you to do it. God is waiting for you to take responsibility. See. God is waiting for you to take responsibility before he steps in. He will step in, but he's waiting for you to take responsibility before he steps in. Matthew 7:7, it says, ask and it shall be given. Seek and you shall find. Knock and the door shall be opened. Ask. Ask. Is your responsibility to ask? Is your responsibility to seek? Is your responsibility to knock? Those are your responsibility you take. You are not asking, you are not seeking, you are not knocking, and you expect things to just change. It will not happen. It won't happen. You are not taking responsibility. Those things won't happen. They won't. They won't. Life is waiting for you to take responsibility for your life. Life is waiting for you. And I always say to people, morning is not always dawn. Whenever you wake up, that is your morning. That is your morning. And you see, your indiscipline and irresponsibility will begin to end the day you start taking responsibility. So when you start taking responsibility, indiscipline starts to end. So it's on you, right? It's on you. Things change when you start to take responsibility. Things change. Things change. You see, responsibility displays what I call IMAC. 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 Responsibility displays identity, it displays maturity, it displays audacity, and it displays capacity. IMAC. That's what it displays. Identity, maturity, audacity, and capacity. You see these things in display with responsibility. Anyone that has responsibility has these things in display. And you see, Who you are becoming is your responsibility. The day I discovered I am Mr. Upgrade, I started taking responsibility to become Mr. Upgrade. The day I discovered I had a sound mind, I started taking responsibility for wisdom. Who you are becoming is your responsibility. Let that sink in. Who you are becoming is entirely your responsibility. And you see, even mercy and grace, like I told you, they are still waiting for your responsibility. Hebrews 4:16, let us therefore now come boldly to the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. You have to come boldly. So mercy and grace are waiting for you to take responsibility. The same way blind Bartimaeus had to shout, Jesus, thou son of David, have mercy on me. Jesus would have passed him. If he didn't take responsibility to shout, Jesus would have passed. Because Jesus was just going on his own. Mercy and grace is waiting for you to take responsibility. They are waiting. They are waiting. Because God will not just interfere in your affairs if you don't take responsibility. I'll say that again. God will not interfere in your affairs if you don't take responsibility. But see this, Psalm 91, it says, he that dwells in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Say of the Lord is my refuge and strength, my God in whom will I trust. See, there's a responsibility to dwell. Not he that comes and goes, he that dwells. Dwelling is a responsibility. Dwelling is a responsibility. So there's a responsibility for you to dwell in the secret place. So dwelling is a responsibility. Are you responsible enough to dwell? Because it's the one that dwells in the secret place that abides under the shadow of the Almighty. In 2 Corinthians 10:6, scripture says, and well be ready to punish any disobedience when your obedience is complete. So you see, your obedience being complete is your responsibility. Saul was told to utterly destroy the Amalekites. But what did he do? He spared the king. He kept the best flock for himself. And he said he wanted to use that to offer sacrifice. And Samuel came and told him to obey is better than sacrifice, and to hearken than the fat of rams. Now, that lesson tells us that Saul obeyed, but his obedience was not complete. And that's why scripture says in 2 Corinthians 10:6 that when your obedience is complete, every disobedience will be punished. Because half obedience is still full disobedience. And so what happened to Saul? He lost his throne. That was it. He lost his throne for his half obedience that was full disobedience. So it's your responsibility for complete obedience. Abraham was told to offer Isaac, Genesis 22. He didn't hesitate. Full obedience. God had to be the one to tell him to stop. Abraham, stop, 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 stop. Stop. Full obedience. See this, guys. Growing old is mandatory. As long as you're alive, with each passing day, you will grow old. But you see, growing up is responsibility. That's it. Growing old is mandatory, but growing up is responsibility. And you must take responsibility for your life. You must. You must take responsibility for your life. And you see, prayers, study, loving, giving, forgiving, fasting, consecration, all of these are your responsibility. God will not come down from heaven to do your responsibility for you. It's your responsibility to pray. It's your responsibility to fast. It's your responsibility to study the word. It's your responsibility to give. It's your responsibility to love. It's your responsibility to forgive. It's your responsibility to consecrate yourself. All of these things are your responsibility. And God will not come down from heaven to handle your responsibility for you. You have to handle your responsibility. Guys, this is it. This is it. Concise, precise, to help you, because you must take responsibility for your life. I don't know how best to say this, but your life will look like your responsibility. It's going to look like your responsibility. And the earlier you start to take responsibility for your life, the better for you. See, you have no one to blame. It's all you. Quit that thinking of, oh, if my father had helped me, or if my mother had helped me, or if my parents didn't have a broken home, or if my parents were together, if they were not divorced, or if my mother did not remarry, or if my father did not have other children and other wives outside. See, all of those things are excuses. And like I've always told us, excuses at its best are good reasons for bad results. They are the tools of the incompetent, and they that use them are not wise. Stop making excuses. Start taking responsibility. That is how you change the tides for your life. That's how you change the tides for your life. When you start taking responsibility. And like I told you, nobody is coming to save you. Nobody. See, once you understand this, it changes a lot of things for you. Nobody's coming to save you. See, just waiting. Oh, I have this uncle abroad or this auntie abroad. When they do papers for me, I'll travel abroad. My life will change. Keep dreaming. Keep dreaming. See, people will even assist you faster when they see that you have started taking responsibility for your life. That's how they will come in. When you're not taking responsibility, you become a liability. Never forget that. When you're not taking responsibility, you become a liability, and nobody wants a liability. Everyone wants an asset. And taking responsibility makes you an asset. Not taking responsibility makes you a liability. So understanding all of this is enough for you to wake up and say, it is really my morning for me to wake up. I've been sleeping all this while. I've been sleeping all this while. I've not been taking responsibility as I should. For your health, you need to take responsibility. For your wealth, you need to take responsibility. For everything about your life, you need to take responsibility. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is coming. Nobody's coming. See, the best I can do is to share this with you. You have to go do something with this. And that's why I tell people all the time, the proof of learning is practice. That practice is your responsibility. You don't practice, you don't see results. Because the proof of learning is practice. And the proof of practice is results. All of this is about you taking responsibility. So you see, I took responsibility to be here. I took responsibility to share this with you with all ebullience and drive. I took responsibility. If I tell you the things that are militating against me showing up right now, if I'm not the person of responsibility, I probably would have quit or given up. But every Sunday, I show up without a shadow of a doubt. I show up to ensure that I help you on your journey of upgrade, because upgrade is a journey. That's me taking responsibility to play my part, to give you the tools that would help you on your journey. All you have to do is take responsibility to make use of these tools I've given you. Go make use of the tools. That is you taking responsibility for your life. See this, guys. See this. Who you are becoming is your responsibility. You always look like your choices and your responsibility. You always look like it. You always look like it. And you can change your life the moment you start to take responsibility for your life. You can change your life. You can rewrite your story. Your story doesn't have to end like this. You can rewrite it by taking responsibility. That's why this conversation is important at this time. This is the end of the first quarter in 2025. Now, regardless of how your year has been, it's time to take responsibility for the outcome for the second, the third, and the fourth quarter. You can change your life. And that change will begin when you start taking responsibility. So, guys, This is it. This is it. I hope that this would help you. I hope that after watching this, you would be inspired to want to take responsibility for your life. It is only when you're taking responsibility for your life you can encourage others to take responsibility for their life. You have to first be a role model worthy of emulation. So it's when you're taking responsibility, you can inspire others to do same for their lives. So this is my charge for you. Take responsibility. You will never regret taking responsibility, but you will always regret not taking responsibility. And I don't want you to be on the regret end of life. I want you to be on the fulfillment end of life. And that fulfillment comes when you are taking responsibility. Please take responsibility and you will be glad you did. Yes, you will. And you see, like we always tell you here, three things will always happen for you in this new week. Three things will always happen for you in this new week. Three things. Three things will happen for you. Number one, increased voice of God. Number two, open heavens over your life. And number three, more angelic activities in all that you do. These three things will always happen for you in this new week. Remember, there's always more on the upgrade side of life. And that's why we encourage you that you leave good behind so that you what better way for you to upgrade than to start taking responsibility for your life. I love you guys. Please take responsibility for your life. That's the only thing I ask of you. Just take responsibility for your life. Thank you. Please feel free to share this with your friends, your followers, your loved ones, and please ask questions in the comment. If you do have questions, please do ask questions. We always say there's always more on the upgrade side of life. So we encourage you to leave good behind so that you can upgrade. Thanks so much for watching. God bless you.